we'll start off with the Vikings. And as a big Viking fan, it's been it's been a tumultuous offseason in many ways. But no, really, just one way. But the big concern I have for the Vikings right now is actually not quarterback, even though people are always paying attention to Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy, and we'll get into them in a little bit. My big concern for the Vikings right now going into the season, and it's been this way for a while, is the cornerback room, actually. And we just, Mekhi Blackmon tore his ACL on the first day of training camp. Shaq Griffin hurt his hamstring the next day. Lewis Cine is, not that I'm very hopeful for Lewis Cine at this point anyway, but he's banged up again. And then, of course, there's the horrible tragedy with Tyree Jackson passing away a couple weeks ago in the car accident. So, obviously, we never addressed that. So that was just horrible. That was when we were on vacation. We're wishing our best to the Jackson family. But, beyond that, if we're talking about the Vikings roster here, the cornerback room has really been depleted since the start of this offseason. And the Vikings are trying. They've signed 4 cornerbacks in the last 10 days. The big names, Fabian Moreau comes over after a year with the Broncos last season. And Duke Shelley returns. You remember Duke Shelley? Had a couple big plays a few seasons ago with the Vikings.
I do remember Duke Shelley, yes.
But yeah, so they're trying their best. I'm actually hoping Stephon Gilmore is on the table. But the biggest concern, and Ziggy is a fellow Viking fan, let me know if you echo it, but I'm a little concerned right now with how this cornerback room is going to look outside of Byron Murphy Jr. right now.
First of all, Jack, there's no way you remember Duke Shelley.
No, I was thinking of Shelley Duncan, an old Yankees player.
Yeah, okay. We need to clarify that. The way you said, I remember Duke Shelley. There's no way.
I got the two confused. I was thinking of Shelley Duncan.
Setting that aside, I mean, like you say, Paul, I think it's worrying when the big headliner you're bringing in to save the room is Fabian Moreau. I mean, no disrespect to Fabian Moreau, but he was serviceable at best for the Broncos last year. He's floated around the NFL. He's been on 3 or 4 teams in the past couple of seasons. Because I know, it's worrying because you saw it closer to the end of last season when Brian Flores' defense was a little bit less fresh, right? When teams had a few weeks to look at it, they started to see things that could beat it. The defense got a lot weaker down the stretch. So, I don't know. We need defensive improvement. It's not going to be like last year where, at least for the first part of the season, you could count on Kirk Cousins throwing for 300 yards and some touchdowns. We're going to have worse QB play this year. I don't expect the Vikings to be especially competitive, but if the cornerbacks aren't good, I mean, I know we did the Danielle Hunter swap for Grenard, but I think that's going to be mostly a wash. And it's not like the defense is lighting you on fire otherwise. It could be a long season for all the NFC North quarterbacks. They could have the Vikings circled, not because they need to prepare mentally, but because they need to prepare to win NFC Player of the Week.
I'm thinking about going back on my Vikings prediction being 13-4. I had them going 5-0 to start the year.
Yeah, they could very realistically be like 1-6.
So you brought up a good point. I mean, this Vikings offense with Kirk was legitimate. Like, they were solid, but the defense has been an issue. Now, if you get, and I'm a McCarthy guy, but if you get below average quarterback play now to couple with a below average defense, I mean, I'm not loving.
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins was awesome.
He covered up a lot of issues that the team had, and Josh Dobbs, when he came in those first couple games, when it was amazing, and you had the Creed hire TikToks going around. It was awesome, but once we were up 21-0, or I believe it was 21-0 on the Bengals later in the season. Against backups. Who's the starting quarterback for the Bengals?
Browning.
Well, yeah, Browning. Jake Browning. We were 21-0, and I texted my dad, like, all right, Brian Flores might just be amazing. The defense actually kind of fell apart from there. And if you don't have Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson putting on Herculean performances, it's really hard to, it's hard to win if the offense and the defense both stink. So I think the offense actually under Sam Darnold, who's been playing pretty well, all things considered, I think the offense should be just fine. A competitive offense in the end. I don't think they'll be top 10 the way they were with Kirk a lot of the times, but they should be fine. It's the defense to me. It's with Goff, with Caleb Williams now, with Jordan Love. Are those guys just going to throw for 380 yards on them like they allowed? I think they allowed 387 2 years ago. That could happen, and I'm not sure there's any saving grace unless maybe they go get someone like Gilmore.
No, I mean, the saving grace is not going to come from the cornerbacks. The saving grace is going to come from the defensive line. I mean, you've
Well, yeah.
seen what Christian Darrisaw has been doing with Dallas Turner, right? Almost every play after practice, Darrisaw is pulling him off, showing him ways to get better. Indeed, Darrisaw actually came out and said Dallas Turner has a faster spin move than Daniil Hunter, which that's exciting to hear. You know, it's whether it's preseason fluff or not, I don't know, but it's exciting to hear that our league leading tackle is working really hard with our rookie who has all the talent in the world, trying to show him how to improve. But yeah, I mean, the defensive line has talent on it. Ivan Pace was a breakout star last year, so there's some hope that the defense will be good, but it's going to be covering up the cornerbacks rather than Duke Shelley and Shaq Griffin forming the lockdown duo to lead the league.
Ziggy, you know where Christian Darrisaw went to college?
Tell me, Jack.
You don't know where?
Tell me.
He went to my school, or my favorite team. Virginia Tech, first round pick at Virginia Tech.
I wasn't at UVA then, so
Can you make the
he made his money playing for Vikings. I'm not required to hate him.
And just to clarify, even though we're talking down the Vikings defense right now, like it's the expectations are, or the hope is that this is a defense with a lot of young pieces that'll get better as the season goes on. It's again, this is a concern. This isn't something where I'm saying like, oh, we're doomed for the future. It's more of like, okay, we do have, like, we've lost some of the younger cornerbacks in this room that we're going to develop. We need to continue to develop Dallas Turner now, and Grenard's 26, 27 years old. Ivan Pace, we'll see. He's a little short for linebacker, but played really well. So there's a lot of potential for this Vikings defense, and it fits nicely with the timeline for hopefully by the time they're all getting into their primes or, playing still in their primes, JJ McCarthy is at a level where they can compete.
Also, you got to keep in mind, too, that this NFC North should be very, very solid. But you can't forget that it is a rookie quarterback. It's Jordan Love, and then it's Jared Goff. So anything, I mean, people could explode. You never know. You do, people can implode, and if JJ McCarthy comes out, if JJ McCarthy is like, I see, it sounds ridiculous saying is like CJ Stroud, but if JJ McCarthy is anything above a regular rookie quarterback, serviceable, this Vikings team could actually be solid. Like they could be in the hunt at the end of the season. They'll be on that graphic.
Well, I know JJ McCarthy is not getting all of the first team reps, but he's starting to get some. And Paul, I don't know if you've seen how he's been doing. But he's been doing, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. He's been very effective against the Vikings first team defense. There was a red zone period where he went 4 touchdowns on 5 drives against the Vikings defense in the red zone. Like will he be the week 1 starter? Again, I have no idea. They clearly have a plan. The fact that he's playing well hasn't changed how many first team snaps he's getting. But there's a world where JJ McCarthy turns out to be pretty good. Some of these young guys improve a little bit faster than expected, and the Vikings are competitive. But this year, as you said, it's all about developing guys, hoping the team looks better by the end of the season than the beginning. And that puts them in a different spot than most of the other teams in the North.
I believe in Kevin O'Connell's plan as well. I think that he's like, they are being meticulous about this. JJ's playing some snaps with the ones right now, but I think the plan is, and O'Connell said this, he said, hopefully you start seeing that number increase throughout training camp. And they know what they want from McCarthy. And it seems that they're on track, where if you go and watch the highlights from training camp, he is making a couple wow throws. And that's, generally speaking, most quarterbacks will do that in training camp. There will be wow moments, but I'm happier to see them than not. He's also making mistakes. I think we're in the exact spot we expected to be in right now. And for a team that's, kind of in, like, we're a rebuilding team, but we also have enough talent that if it works out, it could be a really fun season. So I like where the Vikings are at right now. And I do expect Sam Darnold to be the starter week 1. And that's actually what I'm most excited about, is how good is Darnold going to look now that he finally, we've said this before, now that he has the weapons. I think there's some promise for this Vikings team, even if it's a little hopeful for me and you.
Yeah, the problem is every time the headline is Sam Darnold lighting up first team defense, JJ McCarthy lighting up first team defense. Like, it seems no matter who they put back there, the first team defense is getting lit up. So maybe it means absolute, you see, like, when you see a team with a good defense and the first team defense is struggling, that gives you an indication the player's doing pretty well. I'm not so sure that beating up on the Vikings
getting
defense means
torched.
a whole lot.